Ooh, ooh. What do you think about lighting? Hi, it's Friday. Hello. Okay, I'm back to document some more of this old WW Weight Watchers stuff, and I'm bringing you all along for the nostalgia and also for the information. And I have a little bit of time right now to do it, so I thought I would come on. I know we were going to move on to Points Plus. I do have Points Plus materials, but as I was going through trying to get all my Points Plus stuff organized, I have a couple of things that Anita, I think at Chit Chat Patty Wax, sent me a couple of these, and I had a couple of these. Somewhere I have the plan layout, like how they laid out the plan, how they welcomed you. Let me just show you my madness here. If you are new to my channel, hi, I'm Amy. I'm 47 years old. I started Weight Watchers back when it was 1, 2, 3 success, and I lost 70 pounds through that sort of program changes and things through 1, 2, 3 success, winning points, flex points, momentum, all of that. And when things changed to Points Plus, I did that for a little bit, and then I got diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, and I got down pretty low. I got down to 209 from 288, but not by not eating. And then when I started eating again, a lot of the weight came back, and I have been working on things since. So I'm currently down about 30 some pounds from my very highest weight. There was a point where I know that I was at 300, maybe a little higher, but the highest weight I have recorded is 288. So we're going to move on to Points Plus once I get a little more organized. But because I want to do this sort of in order, I did find I've got these binders. If you have ever been a Weight Watcher, gone to meetings, that sort of thing, you remember our binders that we would take with us to meetings. I have several. They're all black. I never had a different color. I know some of you guys have, but I have several. A lot of them have these C's on there or something. So I don't know. In fact, I think they all do. Here's another one. So it's been fun kind of going through my program materials, but I wanted to talk to you. We are going to go to Points Plus next. Here's the Points Plus tracker. I just have to get all of that organized. But what I just found was winning points. And I know we talked about turnaround and momentum and flex points. This is winning points. And so let's talk about this plan. I have some new subscribers on here that are doing Conquer Cravings, which is the iTrack Bites version of this older plan. The older plan was calories, fat, and fiber. When the older plans transferred to Points Plus, you started having that division between fat. It wasn't total fat anymore. It was saturated fat. And it was divided out, okay? And the new points were based on that. This is the old, very, very simple calculation of calories, fat, and fiber. These were the old plans that you could go into the grocery store and see something for 150 calories in your head without the slider. You could calculate based on the fat and the fiber. You could be very close to what the points would be, and it made life so easy because you would just pick up a box of something and go, oh, the fat's on this really high, there's no fiber, and the calories are high. This may not be a good choice for my plan, or I might have to plan for it to have it in moderation or whatever. And you didn't have to get out your phone and scan, and you didn't have to do all of that. It was a very easy way of living. The focus was more on fiber than on protein. Okay, when we went to Points Plus, the fruit became 0 points, and you'll even look back in old, like Dottie's Weight Loss Zone, although her message board is not functioning right now, and healthdiscovery.net and 3 Fat Chicks on a Diet. Those boards are still up. People talk about those foods as free. And when Points Plus came along, we started to have this mindset issue, I think, where we started to think of things as free instead of 0 points. And there's a difference there, you guys, in the way that we think about things. Also, with Points Plus, some of the research that was coming out showed that yes, calories count, but there were studies at that time that eating fruit in the long term did not contribute to obesity. And if you look now, you guys can go do some research now. There are a lot of studies out that show that high fruit consumption in the long term has not been shown to increase obesity. And in fact, it has shown to decrease over the long term rates of obesity. So I think that, and I don't work for WW and I don't really know anybody that works for them. So I can't tell you where a lot of their research has come from. We don't have all the studies that they've done. But I think that they have based this idea of 0 point fruits on the idea that over the long term, those items have not been shown to contribute to obesity. And you guys know, if you look up the stats right now in the US, 3/4 of Americans are classified as overweight or obese. So kind of interesting, just a little background. Hey guys, oh, Ruth's in here, Tracy's in here, Myrna's in here, Barb Britton's in here. You caught me live, Barb. What's going on? Scott Jones is in here. Hi, Scott, Florida. I love my Florida peeps. I miss Florida so much. Let's see who else. Pat Wilson, Ellen's in here. Southern Cubanista, my dear friend, is in here, who's been here forever. I'm glad you like my chats. Ellen Noonan, yes, I used to do 50 calories equals 1 point. Yes, it was so easy back in the day to just sort of go with the flow. There was a lot of peace there. You weren't, pulling out all of these things and trying to figure out and standing in the store. It was a lot easier in my opinion. So Michelle, hi Michelle, my zapper is in here. Thank you, Michelle, for being in here. Michelle is one of my moderators for my live chats, and she helps me zap people that aren't in here to talk about WW. Liliana says, the plan is so simple. Why is it complicated so much? Yes, that's a good question. I've had a lot of people ask me, are people successful on this? In my experience, the people I've come across all these years, yes, absolutely. Back in the day when we were early online people, we had the Weight Watchers message boards and Not Connect. We had a lot of these other message boards and things. People were extremely successful on these early plans. These early plans are just like anything else. If you work the plan works. Okay, so keep that in mind. Ruth says she took the slider with her to the store. Absolutely. You had your little slider and you could take it to the store. I love that. So let's talk about winning points. I just want to go through this because I think that this is very interesting. Even the change from winning points to turnaround. And I'm wondering if this has our dates on it. Okay, this is 2000. So this is 20 years ago, you guys. 20 years ago. This was right after, I believe, the first implementation was 1, 2, 3 success. And I want to say that was maybe 97 or 98, but you guys might know. I don't think I have any of my 1, 2, 3 success stuff anywhere. I haven't been able to locate any of it. Basically, I have some boxes in storage that have some of my old planners and things like that in them, journals, and that's where I have all of this. So Michelle says she started on 1, 2, 3 success. Very good. Okay, so when you went, same situation. When you would go back in these days, you would go into a meeting, you would weigh in. The meetings were either in like community centers and maybe church halls and things. Golly, I don't know that I went to a center. When Judah was 1, I went to a center. That was the first time I had ever been to a center. And I was like, oh, this is so, like, what is happening? They have things for sale. And, all the chairs were matched. I think they were all blue at that point. And it just felt, you know, like a different environment because I had always gone to community centers or to church halls and things to do Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is franchise. I get this question a lot. So from center to community group to however you get into Weight Watchers, they're all different franchises. So that's why sometimes you'll go and it will be a little different. Like if you've been going to a center and you go to maybe a community center of some sort, you'll be like, this is really different than when I go into a Weight Watchers center. Maybe they don't give you the paper, you know, handouts and things like that. In the past, things are really different now with the virus stuff. Okay, so like I said, year 2000, you would go in, you would fill out paperwork, your height, your weight, your gender, name, address. I remember paying with cash or a check at that point, or you could buy coupons and you would get discounts. You know, if you did 13 weeks at a time, you would get discounts and that sort of thing. And then you did not pick a goal weight at that point, but they did have a chart. This is really interesting, you guys, because these charts we have gotten away from now. We're moving away from these old sort of arbitrary weight charts. And even the BMI, we're starting to move away from BMI, and obesity is being calculated in different ways. So I think that's interesting. So this basically had your height, so how tall you were. I'm 5'9", you guys. I don't know if you knew that. My minimum for all adults, this is not a designation for male and female. My minimum would be 135. Oh my goodness. And then my maximum would be 169. And I don't know if you guys remember, we would in meetings talk about if you're big boned or small boned, or which was, you know, kind of funny because I'm a bigger person, but I have really small wrists. And so I was always like, oh my goodness, maybe I need to weigh 135. And that's not ever going to happen. The middle weight for 5'9" was 155 to 162. And then, of course, you could always get a doctor's note at that time. I don't know what the rules are now if you need a doctor's note to pick out your goal weight. At that point, it either needed to be within their range, or you could have a doctor's note that said what your goal weight was. And this says weight ranges are used to recommend appropriate weights for groups of people. The Weight Watchers weight ranges are based on the BMI. So that's how they based that. Oh, let's see. Cindy says, strange that no one has met with me so I can get my 5% weight. Sorry, Cindy. That's a good point, Cindy. There was a point in time where Weight Watchers started to focus on 5% and 10% and giving you like a special recognition when you would lose that amount of weight. So I remember the discussion about it. I think the 10% designation was that there were studies at that time that showed that if you lost 10% of your weight, it increased your health significantly. It was less pressure on your joints and that sort of thing. I don't remember what the 5%, like why they started, doing the 5% designation. But at 10%, you would get like a charm or a sticker or something like that. It used to be we would get 5-pound stickers for a bookmark. When we would lose 5 pounds, you would get a little gold star. I think I've shown you guys my bookmark from the 70 pounds that I lost. If not, I will show it to you guys next time when we talk about Points Plus. So Sharon says she got a doctor's letter. I will never weigh as little as they said I should. Yeah, Sharon, I'm with you, my friend. So this little booklet came with a welcome from the medical director, which was always kind of interesting to read. Of course, I like that kind of stuff because I'm sort of a nerd. It talks about Weight Watchers and diet drugs. I believe that this was the time that all the different diet pills were coming out, and some of them that cause like heart problems. So they were saying today the use of diet drugs to treat obesity is controversial. Sorry, I can't speak. Specialists agree, however, that these drugs are only tools and not a cure for obesity, and that their use should be limited to specific situations. Moreover, for the diet drugs to be effective, They must be combined with a lifestyle modification program like Weight Watchers. So interesting take on that. They even told you who, we don't get a lot of this now. I do not have a booklet right now that tells me who the program development and providers are. All of your doctors, these are all PhDs. There's one nutritionist on here. So interesting that they would tell you who came up with this. You can see my little brain like, little pea brain ticking. Okay, so before joining, they tell you about your Bill of Rights as a consumer. Remember, marketing, we are consumers, so I think that that's interesting. And then they talk about maintenance in this booklet. So our lifetime members report that they have maintained an average of 84% of their weight loss 2 years after completing the maintenance phase of the program. Think about that. So at that time in the year 2000, if you made it to lifetime, they had done studies. There was an average of 84% of weight loss was lost by the maintainers. That doesn't make sense when I say it like that, but you know what I'm saying. And then about half of their lifetimers reported having maintained 100% of their weight loss after 2 years. So I remember thinking, if I can make it to lifetime and stay in meetings and stay with my community, I'm going to have a great chance of keeping this off. Now, we've had a lot of studies since then. I'd like to see their studies from this time that say that diets don't work and dieters can't keep the weight off. It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have. And this just talks about, fees and all of that. And then you would get your week 1 book. Now, what I loved about back then, you guys know, because I love paper, is that each week, this is a lot like the momentum stuff, you would get like a weekly book that kind of told you what your focus was. So week 1 was obviously getting started with the program. And I don't think I have my sliders from this time, which is weird. So it tells you winning points. It's more than a diet. It's a comprehensive weight loss system that puts together all the puzzle pieces needed for successful weight loss: food, activity, behavior, and support. And the points food system takes the fuss out of losing weight. I feel like they really want it to be easy for us. So it's easy as 1, 2, 3. All foods have a points value. How many points depends on the serving size. Serving size was very important back then. You would weigh and measure your food. And the number of calories, fat grams, and fiber grams in the food. Finding out the points values is easy, and then it tells you how to do it, where to look in this little booklet. You start each day with a range of points. How many depends on your current weight, not your height and weight or gender, your current weight. Why? The more you weigh, the more food you need to lose weight in a safe and healthy way. So, we've talked a lot about with freestyle how you would decrease your daily points they would give you, but that didn't necessarily mean that you were decreasing how many 0-point foods you were intaking. So sometimes you would increase your 0-point foods and you were still intaking the same amount of calories, which could cause you to stall out. In my opinion, in my leader's opinion, Tony, he talked a lot about that when we went back to having 3 different plans. He said there are a lot of freestylers that their daily points would go down, and then they would fill in with like an extra serving of chicken or beans or 0%, Faya yogurt or whatever, and you weren't having that decrease that allows you to continue to lose weight, and you would maintain. I got to that point. It was not fun. So, okay. So let's do the point ranges. Very similar to what I've told you guys before. And let me show you the point ranges. So you can screenshot this if you want, if you're wanting to look into this. Hopefully you can see that and it's not reversed. Okay. And you can find these all over the internet. For me right now, I would be at 28 to 33 based on my last weight. This is a point range. So how is this different from momentum? Do you guys know? Let's look over in the chat and see if anybody remembers from my last. How is this different? We have a point range. This makes so much sense to me, you guys. And I've been reading a lot of people talking about the Sprengel program and the Wendy program. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we used to do this naturally. And it makes so much sense when we're talking about hunger cues. So you would have a range of points. There were no weekly points back on Winning Points. There were no weekly points, you guys. You would eat within that range and you could bank points to use within that week. And that's how you had your extra points. Do you guys remember this? Ruth Crandall, yeah, eat in the middle of the points. Right, there isn't a point range in momentum. There's only one number. Brandy, you got it. Perfect. Michelle says 18 to 23 for me. If I were in purple losing weight, it's 16 points. Green would be 20 and blue is 23. Thanks, Michelle, for reminding us of that. So yeah, Spanish whispers. Good point. We were really taught to start focusing on satiety and you didn't eat all the way up. So let's say you weighed more than 350 pounds. Your point range would be 32 to 37. Let's say you got to 32 points and you were fully satisfied. You were not required to eat up to 37 and you would bank those 5 points. Okay. And then you could use them maybe at the end of the week if you're having a special occasion and wanted a piece of cake or something. To me, this made a lot of sense. And I really enjoyed this. So I know it's apples and oranges or no, apples and I know it's similar to what we're doing now. I think it's just a different mindset for it. So let's see. Okay, cool. So that was your range. And then you start off by planning your meals to fit the number of points in the middle of your range. Who just said that? Ruth. Ruth, you got it, my friend. You verbatim from the booklet. Ruth, are you reading the book with me? You might be. So you would, plan your food for the middle of the range. So if your range is 22 to 27, you'd want to stick around 24 to 25. And then you can vary the number of points within your range from day to day. Let your appetite, your schedule, and your weekly weight loss be your guide. Now, I have talked about that. I have used those words from the last couple years that I have been on YouTube. Let your weight loss be your guide. We've gotten away from that sort of idea of, not comparing ourselves to everyone around us, but what's your body doing with this? And from week to week, if you need to work the program in a different way that works for you, do it and let your weight loss be your guide. I always thought that was such a good saying. Let's see. Be sure you always use at least the minimum number of points in your range. That way you're sure to get enough food to keep your metabolism fueled while losing weight at a safe rate. So we're back to safety. And Weight Watchers has always said a safe rate of weight loss is 0.5 to 2 pounds a week. Okay. In fact, I even know of a situation where somebody really wanted to be a Weight Watcher ambassador, but because she had lost weight too quickly, they would not endorse her as an ambassador because she lost weight too quickly, and they were concerned about that. So interesting, huh? So that still applies today. And that person said that publicly. Okay, that was out of that person's mouth. It wasn't like a rumor or something. She said, this is what they told me. So periodically check to see if your daily point range has changed. Why? Because as you lose weight, your body needs fewer points. So, that is like black and white, what they told us back then. I had forgotten all this when I was doing freestyle. Notice they have moved away from the word free or from freestyle, and we're calling it blue. They want us to remember there's nothing free in these plans, you guys. 0 point, yes. free. No, we need to get away from saying things are free. Um, oh, Ruth says, Amy, I have worked that plan to firsthand and still have all the materials. I love it, Ruth. So you're my expert in here. I love it. I love it. So please correct me if I misspeak. Let's see. You can save points too. Points not used one day can be banked for another. And I remember banking points for birthday cake and special meals out. And I felt like it was just a really cool way of looking at my day and saying, hey, I'm satisfied and I'm going to put these couple of points away and we're going out on date night at the end of the week and I'm going to have something that I really enjoy. So I know we're in that same mindset with a lot of the plans now. We have our weekly points and we can use them or save them. This was just a little different way of doing it. Hey, Anne, Friday, I love it. Okay, so Spanish Whispers, we're getting to that. We did have trackers. This is what the old tracker looked like. And I think I have the old tracker. Let me see, because we looked at the old tracker for Momentum. Daily Coach. I don't know. Here's Flex Points. Okay, we don't need that. This is the Quick Track. This is from Flex. You could get these books, these little journals. This was similar to what it looked like, but I thought for sure I had one in here that was written in, and I may not. Like I said, we've got things everywhere. I do, however, have weeklies. weeklies. So, I love the weeklies, and the weeklies, I'm trying to think. Coupons that I cut out. Fitness was always in the weekly. I remember they always focused on some activity, and there was always, oh, look at this. Creamy Italian salad dressing for 1 smart point. Now, the thing about the weeklies right now that's a little bit frustrating, if you go back to these, they don't have the components in terms of nutrition, so you can't calculate right now the way that we would want to be able to calculate. So this is the old plan, but the weeklies are really fun to read, I think. I don't know. I'm sort of a dork that way. Okay. And then you had your slider. Oh, so maybe this is the same. Maybe I do have this slider and I showed it to you guys already. So there's your slider. There's what your little tracker looked like. And you would start, you just added your points throughout the day. So you see how that's different than the checkbook that we saw before? You just tracked your points throughout the day. At the end of the day, you would tally up how much you have used, how much you banked, and then your activity points. So we did calculate activity points. And then you're right. I think Brandy was talking about this. You still had your milk products. They recommended 2 to 3. Waters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And your fruits and veggies. So you would check those off as well, which I always really liked that. They don't have the multivitamin. Remember in Momentum, we were checking off our multivitamin, which I love. I love having a place to check that off. Paying attention to serving sizes. This poster, it's a newer version, is still in the center that I go to. This is really, really important if you are a Weight Watcher person to understand how to measure when you're out and about, measure portions. So for example, your fist is a cup or a medium size whole fruit. Your thumb is 1 ounce of meat or cheese. Your thumb tip right here to this first joint right here is 1 tablespoon. Your fingertip to the first joint is a teaspoon. The index finger from the first to second joint is a teaspoon. Did I say that? No, I'm sorry. Yes, fingertip. Tip to first joint is a teaspoon. Your index finger first to second joint is 1 inch. Your cupped hand is 1 to 2 ounces of nuts or pretzels. Did you know that? 1 to 2 ounces of nuts or pretzels. That's important. And your palm, this is one we all know, right? Your palm is 3 ounces of meat. That really helps you when you're going out to eat, you guys, especially the palm one. If you get a piece of salmon, like I had a beautiful piece of salmon last night, a piece of steak or some chicken, you know that you've got 3 ounces right there. So, hey, Kathleen. All right, very good. Miss Britton says our weeklies now are not as rich in information as they used to be. Ellen, I'm glad I'm making you laugh. All right, so pay attention to serving sizes. That was very, very important. They talked about using measuring cups. They wanted you to choose at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. And more studies are confirming the health benefits of a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. And they would give you sort of a guide on your 0-point fruits. So I like that they, focused on that. They wanted you to have at least 2 servings of milk and milk products a day, 3 if you're a teen or over 50. So get on it, my friends that are over 50. Let's do it. Plan on spending 4 to 6 points from your daily points range to meet the dairy guidelines. So I like that. And then they give you a list of what's calcium rich. I just feel like they were very thorough in their education. Include protein-rich diets. Choose a variety of grains daily, especially whole grains. They really wanted you to focus on that fiber and whole grains. Limit alcohol. We've talked about this. Limit high sugar and high fat foods, and drink at least 6 glasses of water every day. And then they do talk about activity. Move your body. So they start talking about that a little bit. The points activity system gives you a simple way to make these recommendations part of your life. So what do they say? You want 20 minutes of activity each day. That's what they used to start you with, 20 minutes of activity each day. So very interesting. And then make sure that you track that. They talked about anchoring. You guys remember all this? I love it. So really, really cool. And then they gave you some different ideas for 1 point, 2 point. This is a hefty little book right here, this Winning Points book. 3 points. And then in your back was all of your point values for general, basic things that we all tend to eat frequently, like salad dressings and rice cakes. And let's see what else. Tortillas. Corn tortillas used to be 1 point each. Flour tortillas were 2 points. It was so nice because you could just memorize these things and just go for it. So that was your week 1. And then, they had week 2. What's your style? Was talking more about what's your dieting. Oh, I loved all this. What's your dieting personality? Because me, I'm always analyzing. So I always love these types of things. So anyway, that was fun. That was a little quiz that you could do, and it would sort of give you ideas on how to deal with yourself based on that individualist profile. And I think that's sort of an interesting topic, because if you look on YouTube, there's lots of us YouTubers, and you may find YouTubers that you're like, this is not my profile. This is not my dieting profile. This is not my way of doing things. And that's okay. You just move on to somebody else that maybe fits the way that you like to do it a little bit better. That's what I've done. There's lots of great YouTubers that maybe that's not the way I would do it, or I don't care for their style of doing it. So I just move on and find somebody that kind of fits more of my diet profile that I want to emulate. And, I tend to be sort of fly by the seat of my pants and more jibber jabbery. And you have a lot of really organized YouTubers out there. So if you like organization, it's probably not the place to be. So week 3, they just gave us a cute little recipe. Maybe they thought they had overdone it. Week 4 was get moving, and they talk a lot more about activity. So they actually waited till week 4, which if you remember on Momentum, they were talking about this week 3. They even gave you a physical readiness little test so you can see if you were ready. Week 5, week 6, more recipes. I always liked getting the recipe cards. And the right mix was carbohydrate. Ooh. So talking about mixing your diet and making sure that you're eating the right amounts of proteins, carbohydrates, sugar. Interesting. And they had a little pull out right here for higher protein, higher carb. That's interesting too. So this last week, I've been doing something interesting. I've been double tracking in iTrack Bites, in Conquer Cravings, and in the Blue Plan. And what I have really noticed is that the Blue Plan really focuses on protein, and you get a lot of credit for protein. Whereas these older plans, you just get a lot of credit for fiber. And I have been doing oatmeal because we're also in a fasting period. So we're not eating meat and dairy products this week. So I've been having my oatmeal in the morning instead of my eggs. And it has really held me over a little bit better than the eggs. So that has been different. I've been getting my protein from like beans and that sort of thing. Um, and I've been eating a lot of leafy greens, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. And I feel good. I feel very energized. I feel like I'm very satisfied at the end of the day. So that has been interesting. But I will tell you that fullness is a little bit different between when you focus on protein and you focus on fiber. I have a different sense of fullness. I feel like the protein, I don't ever really feel like full. You guys kind of reflect back to me what you think about that. It's interesting. So, week 8 was tools for living. Look at this, week 9. I mean, they go all the way. Week 9 was more recipes, easy cheese lasagna. That sounds delicious. Week 10 was mealtime. Week 11 was artichoke tomato pasta. And week 12 is where they stopped with these weeklies because I guess they figured, okay, you're 12 weeks in, you're doing great. And they talk about self-discovery a little bit and some, have you do some reflections and things. So that was winning points, different from momentum because you had the range. So next time we get together, we'll talk about points plus. And I will go through what I have on that and how that's different from these older plans, and how they calculated the points differently. And, we had a lot of sort of dissension in the ranks when we went from these older plans to points plus. But a lot of people had a lot of success on points plus. And one of the people that you might want to check out who did points plus and lost a lot of weight was Weight Watcher Girl. So if you really like Points Plus and you're looking back at doing Points Plus, we'll talk a little bit more about that on iTrack Bites and what plan that is. She showed a lot of her daily, she's got a channel that's probably 10 years old or something like that. And she lost 100 and something pounds on Points Plus, and she goes through what she ate in a day and all of that. Now, what's funny about watching her channel is a lot of those items aren't available anymore in the store. You can't get, we were talking about the Weight Watcher desserts. You can't get the Weight Watcher desserts. I remember eating the Weight Watcher cheesecake and the Weight Watcher brownie and you can't get all of those things anymore. So it's funny to watch and think about how much things have changed and the products in our stores have changed, and just how that's impacted the way that we eat. So Barb says the recipes nowadays aren't as practical. Although, Barb, I will say, since the plan changed to the 3 purple, blue, and green, I have noticed their recipes have gotten a lot more practical, and they use a lot more common foods, commonly found things. Like you don't feel like you have to go hunt at the health food store to find things. Although a lot of the regular chains now are carrying the foods that you used to only be able to find at the health food store. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to my channel and like to hear about my own adventure on WW and some of these older programs and how they compare, especially if you're trying to maybe go back to something that worked really well for you. I'm a big advocate of finding what works well for you. Let your weight loss be your guide and work the program that you want to work. You're a consumer. This is your body. Don't let anybody tell you can't, do the thing that works for you. And have fun with it, okay? Have fun. Drop me a little note. Oh, Ruth Crandall, eating a lot of 0 Point pumpkin pie. Yes, for sure. Thanks, Barb. I'm glad you enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later. I will be back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. with weigh-in. I have a Tupperware party tomorrow at 2 p.m. over on my business page. I'll drop that link down below if you guys want to come see what I've been doing in my free time as a hobby. And I'll be making the Pound Dropper 0-point marinara and doing some spiralizer veggies and just playing around and having fun. No obligation to come. You just come and hang out with me for about half an hour and watch. And have a great evening. I'm going to go make a pizza and watch movies with my hubby. So, all right, stay in orbit. I'll see you later. Bye.